name is Canna, and right now the length of my neck is 45 centimeters. But this is not enough for it to be ideal because my goal is 60 centimeters, like my mother has. The thing is that according to our traditions, only a woman with a very long neck can be considered beautiful. Of course, genetics has nothing to do with it. We are not relatives of giraffes and are not born looking like this. The thing is that it's common for us to stretch girls' necks. It doesn't hurt at all, I assure you, although there are still certain risks in this. When I was a kid and saw my older relatives who already had rather long necks with copper rings on them, I was overwhelmed with envy. I really wanted to grow up as soon as possible in order to wear these rings as well and become closer to my ideal of beauty. On my birthday, when I turned 6, my mother said that I was ready for the changes in my appearance and asked if I was prepared for embarking on this long and difficult path. In her hands, she held a long copper thread, and I immediately realized that we were talking about rings. My mother wanted to put them on my neck. Of course, I was very happy and agreed without hesitation. My grandmothers, aunts, and my friend Nina came to our house. While they tasted the treats prepared in advance and sang songs, my mother put the rings around my neck. At first, there were only 3 of them for me not to receive spinal injuries and get used to them. That day was one of the happiest and most significant ones in my life. Then, every 3 months, my mother added 1 ring to my neck, and each of those days was a holiday in our family. My neck was becoming longer, and I was happy with my reflection in the mirror, and girls who had not yet put rings on their necks for some reason envied me. A year later, I became the happy owner of 7 rings, and on my birthday, my mother promised to put 3 more rings on me. This was a reason for happiness. There will be 3 more of them at once. Cool! But this time, the joy lasted exactly for 1 day because in the morning, my neck started itching and bright red spots were visible from under the rings. This was just unbearable, so I asked my mother to help me and do something about it. She brought some kind of liquid with which she treated my skin, and then she poured it right under the rings. Unfortunately, it didn't get better, so I was literally going crazy because of the horrible itching, which made me dig my nails into my skin. Then my mother called a doctor who gave me an injection and left. I felt better and even fell asleep, but after a few hours, my skin started itching with renewed vigor, and together with this, I had a fever and a severe headache. Yeah, probably removing the rings from my neck seems to be the simplest solution because it was obvious that they were the reason for the problem, but everything was not that easy. Since the cervical vertebrae were already a bit stretched, removing the support would mean instant death because I would just not be able to hold my own head up. My neck muscles were really stretched and completely atrophied since they did not have to work at all, which means that my head was held on only by these copper rings. When my parents realized that the situation was getting worse, they drove me to the nearest town. The hospital was already used to patients with rings like me, so no one was surprised by my appearance. Moreover, the doctors immediately said that I had a severe allergy to copper, so I had 2 options: to try replacing the rings with silver or gold, hoping that I wouldn't be allergic to those metals, or start taking allergy medications, but in this case I would have to depend on them for my whole life, and their side effects are not that harmless. It was a tough choice, but there wasn't much to think about. We just had no money for either gold or silver, so my fate was sealed in advance. I was given a bunch of medicines, and a schedule of taking each pill was printed on a piece of paper. The doctor said that for the first time this memo would be useful to me, and then over time I would remember the information like a prayer. These words made me sad and scared, but my mother cheered me up, saying that at the moment, nothing could stop me from being beautiful and feminine. 5 years have passed since that day, and I still take allergy pills as well as stretch my neck more and more. This is my pride and my pain. Why pain? Well, because it's very inconvenient to wash my hair. It constantly gets stuck between the rings. It is also inconvenient for me to dress and sleep. I don't know why I still haven't gotten used to a long neck. We've recently celebrated my younger sister's 6th birthday. Early in the morning on that day, my mother asked her the same question as me 5 years ago, and my sister started crying and said that if she had even the slightest chance of avoiding wearing this pile of metal on her neck, she would like to take advantage of it. It's a paradox, but my mother did not insist on it and gave the rings to me, saying that I could use them for my own purposes. This time, I was not happy with such a gift. I asked why my mother allowed my sister to not have to wear the rings, and she replied that time has passed and everything was changing. Now girls have a choice, and if they do not want to wear rings, that is their right. I felt pain and sadness inside. Yeah, I really wanted to have a long neck and was looking forward to the moment when I would be able to put on the rings, but I was a kid and did not quite understand what was behind all of this illusionary and imposed beauty, and I actually had no choice. If I had tried to refuse, the rings would have been put on me anyway, against my will. And my sister was born 5 years later than me, and she had a choice. Apparently, I was born in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, I am very glad for her, as she will not have to turn herself into a giraffe and ruin her health. But at the same time, I am very upset for myself, especially for that small Canna who was doomed to wear the rings for life and live according to obsolete laws. Recently, tourists began to come to our village. They pay entrance fees to see the long-necked girls and women, as well as observe our way of life. I feel like a real giraffe in the zoo because this is how these people look at me. They also really like how I sing and give me good tips for it. I spend part of the money I earn on my own needs and those of my family while saving the rest for my sister. She also has a very good voice, and I would really like her to move to the city and study at a private music school where it's possible to live throughout the academic year. Recently, my whole family went there to support my sister in the entrance audition. However, all the attention of the jury was focused on me. They talked to me and then asked me to sing something too. As a result, one of the producers suggested that I, together with my sister, enter this school for free and said that in addition to talent, I also had an extraordinary appearance, and if I ever decided to perform on stage in my life, then my neck would become my peculiar feature. So now I have to make a tough choice. If I leave our village, people will point fingers at me everywhere, and perhaps someone will even try to hurt me. But on the other hand, in the village, I am like a museum exhibit for tourists, so maybe I should make a choice in favor of the future, because in the city, I will at least have a chance for a decent life. As for me, I have not yet understood what I want, because until recently, I've been totally sure that I would never be able to live outside the village. What would you do if you were me? Would you decide to move for the sake of your future? I will read your answers in the comments, and hopefully they will help me make the right choice for myself. I will also be grateful for the support with likes and a subscription to the channel.